back over some previous videos, I wanted to revisit a strategy called the 6, 7, 8. And the reason is because mathematically and statistically, the 7 is the most likely number to be rolled, and the 6 and 8 are close behind it. So if you think about opportunities to win on each roll of the dice, you really should be thinking that the 6, the 7, and the 8 are going to roll more than the other numbers. And if you watch on CRAPS, the roll distribution over a large number of rolls, 30 rolls or more, you'll see that pattern very distinctly. The 7, the 6, the 8 will be the most rolled, and then the remaining numbers behind that. So this is a strategy that's going to help you win when the 6, the 7, and the 8 roll. Now, the 7 is usually a number that you lose on. So we have to change that. And this strategy does that basically by putting a don't pass bet out before the come out roll, before the point is established. If you put money on or chips on the don't pass, you will initially lose on the 7, but as soon as the point is established, you are now a favorite to win because the 7 is the most likely number that would be rolled. So the goal of this strategy is to protect the come out roll. If a 7 hits, you want to be able to minimize the loss on that. But once the come out roll comes out, you want to take advantage of the 7. So that's one of the largest goals. The second goal is to place bet on the 6 and 8, because a place bet will win if a 6 or 8 is rolled. And as our previous videos have shown, you can regress those bets down to lock in some of those winnings. And then the third goal is really around money management. When do you decide I've lost enough, it's time to get out, or I've won enough, it's time to get out, or I've been sitting at this table for X number of hours or X number of rolls, when do I get up? So I'm going to bring up those goals throughout this video, but let's go ahead and roll this out, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to be playing on the CRAPS. I'm going to let it determine and figure out my winnings, and I'm going to play at the $500 bankroll level. So right now, my exit strategy is going to be either win 30 to 50% of my bankroll. So if I can win $200 to $300, that would be a good exit strategy. Or if I lose 50% of my bankroll, or if I've been in this roll for more than 30 rolls. So let's go ahead and get started. The way that we're going to start this is we're going to be putting a don't pass bet out. Now, you want to be able to hedge that or protect that bet. And the two numbers that lose on this bet is a 7 or an 11. Let's talk about the 11 first. We have a way to hedge by playing the 15 to 1 return on the 11. Now, in CRAPS, we can put $1 there, but at a real live table, we would have to put $5 minimum. And if the $5 is your minimum bet to protect your 11, that means your pass line bet needs to be 15 times that $5 chip, or $75. So just hang with me. The math will work itself out. $75 don't pass. If a 7 hits, we lose the 75. We win the 75. Make sense? The other number that loses on the don't pass is the 7. Now, you can throw a bet on the 7, but remember, this is a one-time bet. And you would have to put $20 on this bet to cover the $75 don't pass. If you would roll a 7, you would lose the 75, you would win 80. But remember, this is a one-time bet. So if you want to really hedge this, you want to be able to make this last longer than one time. And the only other way to do that is to put a lay bet up here. Lay bets pay 1 to 2. So if you have a $75 don't pass, you need to lay $150 up here. Then if the 7 hits, you lose the 75, but you would win 75 on your lay bet. Okay? Now, there's VIGs and there's other, fees that you may have to pay to play a lay bet. But let's just concentrate on the math here. If I'm going to put $150 on a lay bet, then I want it to be a number that is very low probability of rolling. And the lowest numbers up here to do that would be the 4 or the 10. So hang with $150 lay on the 10. If the 7 hits on the come out roll, we lose the 75. We win the 75 on the lay of the 10 minus a VIG. If the 11 rolls, we lose the 75, but we win the 75. Okay, that's really the first step of this strategy. We're trying to protect the 7 or 11 on the come out roll. So let's roll this and just see if we can avoid a 7 or an 11 and what CRAPS does with those bets. Okay. Okay, there's a 7. So as you see, we lost the don't pass. We won on the, we lost on the 11 also. So we lost the 75 plus the 5, we lost the 80, but we won the 75 on the lay bet minus the VIG. So it yielded us a negative $8.75. Let's put that back up and see if we can't explain this again with a different outcome. 75, 5, 150. Let's see if an 11 would roll. No, a 5 rolled. Okay. So the 5 rolls, we would lose the prop bet. Okay. So if we put 20 on the 7 to protect the 7 and 5 on the 11 to protect the 7, we would lose 25. By putting it on the lay, we only lose the $5 that we had on the 11. We can now, this bet has done its job. We can now pull this down. So we didn't lose. We just put it out there for protection. And if we didn't need the protection, we pull it back down. Okay. So now we have a 0.5 with a $75 don't pass bet. What this means is if a 5 hits, we lose our don't pass. If a 7 hits, we win the don't pass. Okay. Now, right now, we are at the advantage for a 7 to roll. We would win if a 7 rolls. So we're at the advantage. We also want to win on the next 2 numbers that have the advantage, and that's the 6 and the 8. And we would do that placing $30 on the 6 and 8. So that is our next setup after the point. We want the 6 and the 8 covered. We want the 7 to win, which it will. Our risk right now is the 5. But out of the 5, 6, 7, and 8, which numbers have the most probability, mathematically, to roll is the 6, the 7, and the 8. And those are the numbers that we can win on. So we might roll a 5 and lose right now. Most likely we will, because that's our luck. But over time, mathematically, the 6, the 7, and the 8 will roll more. And we'll kind of keep an eye on this roll distribution to watch that. So let's go ahead and roll. See how this works out. Okay, there's a 4. The 4 doesn't help us. Doesn't hurt us, doesn't help us. We're looking for 6, 7s, and 8s. There's a 10. There's an 8. Okay, we're going to win 35 on the 8. The $30 pays 35. Okay, now, do we want to keep this bet up? Do we want to regress it and lock in some profits? My thought process is let's wait until we hit the 6 or 8 2 times. Then we'll regress down to maybe 18 on the 6 and 8 and lock in some of those profits. So let's go ahead and roll again. There's a 4, still no help. There's a 2, no help. There's a 6. Okay, 30 is going to pay us 35 on the 6. That's our second hit. So let's regress these down to 18. Okay, so now let's recap what we've got at risk here. If a 7 hits, we lose $36. Okay, if a 7 hits, but we win $75. If a 5 hits, we lose the $75. If a 6 or an 8 hits, we win 21. Okay, now depending on your level of risk, as you play these other numbers, you can add odds to cover those. Remember, your 7 out is at your favor. So some people with high risks would want to put odds on this to take advantage of that advantage. Take advantage of that advantage. Okay, I get it. But if your 7, which is the most probable number to roll, is benefiting you, the shooter, it might make sense to put as much money as you feel comfortable with on that bet. And the only way you can add more money on that bet is through odds. So just for giggles, let's put $30 odds. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so now if a 7 hits, we lose the 6 and the 8, but we win 75, and the number's a 5. So I think the 30 bet on the 5, I can't remember. Does it win 20? We'll have to figure that out. But you'll win, you know, remember, don't pass, you win less than what your odds are. Okay, let's go ahead and roll. There's a 3. There's a 9, still no help. Another reason I like this strategy is I'm not putting out $320 or $400 or whatever. I'm managing my bankroll a little bit better. Okay, there's a 5. So the 5 was the risk that we have. We lost our don't pass, but we also lost our odds bet. So we put odds out and it lost. So even though the 5 hit, mathematically, statistically, the 7 will hit more times than the 5 over a long period of time. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, that's the end of shooter 1. We're down $48, almost 50 bucks. We need to set up our come out bets. Remember, the 6 and 8 are off. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 75 on the don't pass, 5 on the 11, and 150. I know people are going to get nervous here. 150 lay bet on the 10. Right now, our biggest risk is if we roll a 10. If we roll a 10, because this bet is on, it's protecting our don't pass. So a 10 would hurt us right now. But mathematically, statistically, a 10 will not roll nearly as many times as the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Right? Does that make sense? So let's try to avoid the 10. 7 out. Does the 7 hurt us? We lose our don't pass on the 7. Okay? We lose the $5 that we had on the 11. But we win on the lay bet on a 7 minus the VIG, and that's why we ended up losing a little bit of money. Let's go ahead and set this up again. If anyone in the chats and the comments know how to protect that $8, I'm all ears. I'd like to hear that. But I know that you need 15 times what you put on the 11 in the don't pass. And then I put double that. I guess you could put more up here on the lay bet. If you want to put 200 on the lay, then if a 7 hits, you would lose your 80. You would win 100 minus the VIG. So if the VIG is less than $20, you might make money there. But again, you're risking a little bit more on that come out roll being a 10. We can try it though. Let's see if a 7 hits. That would be good to show. There we go. Did we win or lose? Look at that. So putting a little bit more money on the lay protects the VIG, covers the VIG. So 150 on the lay, we lost 8. 200 on the lay, we won 15. So do you just put in something in the middle? 175? I don't know. Anyway, something to play with. Let's go ahead and set up. 75 on the don't pass. 5 on the 11. 175 on the lay. Let's see what that does. Hopefully we don't need to use it. That's the goal. Another 7. Well, this ought to be closer to break even, right? Okay, we won $3. So a 175 lay, if it to protect the 7, we'd still win $3. Okay. So maybe that is the new strategy. You put 75 on the don't pass, you put 5 on the 11, and you put 175 on the 10, the lay bet, and avoid the 10 at all cost. Okay, the point's a 9. So we lose the $5 that we had protecting the 11. Okay. We no longer need our lay bet. It did its job, so we pull it down. So on that come out bet, we ended up losing $5. That's probably the best you can do. But now look what we've got. We've got $75 against the 9. So if a 7 hits, we'll win the don't pass. We're trying to avoid the 9. The risks are avoid the lay number before the point, before the come out roll, and avoid the point after the come out roll. Those are your risks. Let's go ahead and bump these back to 30. Do you want to put odds on your 75? Sure, let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. We got to dig ourselves out of a hole. Okay, there's a 5, that's no help. And the reason we dug ourselves into a hole is, you can see we've rolled more 7s than we were, than the expectations to roll 7s were. So we need to roll 6s and 8s is what we need. There's a 10. Actually, we need to roll 6s, 7s, or 8s, because the 7 will win us 75 on the don't, and whatever this is on the, maybe it's $20 on the odds. So a 7 would be okay. It would cover our $60 loss. But it'd be nice to roll a couple 6s, a couple 8s, and then a 7. That's the ultimate. Okay, there's an 8. 30 is going to pay us 35. That's our first hit. After 2 hits, we'll regress down. Try to lock in a little bit. So really, nothing's going to lose us money here, except the 9. If we hit the 9, we're going to lose the $105. So 6, 7, and 8 are our most common numbers. We want to hit a 6, 7, and 8. We cannot lose money on a 6, 7, or an 8. What did we roll? We rolled a 6. So that's our second hit. Let's regress these down. To 18. And look how quick we get out of the hole. So now let's just roll 6, 7s, and 8s. There's a 6. 18 pays 21. Now, it's up to you. You want to collect a few and then press? Whatever you want to do. Another 6. That's our second hit. Why don't we bump it back to 30? We won't power press it. We'll just press it 2 units. Yo 11 does not hurt us now because we're on the point. Let's roll. 7 out. We're going to lose the 30 and the 18s. We're going to lose 48. But we win the 75 and the odds, so we netted $47. So again, we can't lose on a 6, 7, or 8. We can only lose when the point is rolled. Okay, let's go for another shooter. We're at 23 rolls. Let's go for another shooter. 75 on the don't pass. 175, lay the 10. 5 is a prop bet on the 11 to protect the 11. This protects the 7. Let's roll a 2 or a 3 right here, and we would win this bet. We've hit a lot of 7s here, but we haven't really shown what a 2 and a 3 does. It wins on the don't pass. Okay, points of 5. We lose our $5. That's okay. The point's going to move to the 5. The lay 10 has done its job. Let's pull it down. Let's go ahead and get 30 on the 6 and 8. Let's put 30 in odds. There's a 9. No help for us on this roll. We want 6s, 7s, and 8s. And we want to avoid the 5. So everyone's always trying to avoid the 7. Here, the 7 is good. So we just hit the 7. We're going to lose the 60, the 30 on the 6 and 8. But we more than make that up on our don't pass and our odds. So there's another $35 profit. We're at roll 26. We're at we're at $144 profit. Let's go one more shooter here. Okay, 5 on the 11. 175 on the lay of the 10. $75 don't pass. Okay, we're trying to avoid the 10. The 7 doesn't hurt us. The 2 and the 3 would be great. Okay, there's a 7. This should give us a little bit of a profit. $3. Yep, $3. So 175 is, I think, the magic number if you're going to do 75 don't pass and a $5 hedge on the 11. Let's go with 175. We're at roll 28 coming up. There's an 11. The 11 is going to be a wash because we're going to lose 75, but the prop bet wins us 75. How did we come up with a positive 25 on that? I'm not sure. I thought we had 75 that we lost, and we won 75. I'll have to try to think about that, but it gave us $25. Let's go ahead and put 75 back in the don't. So 11 would lose, 11 would win 75, lose 75. I'll have to think about that one. Someone tell me, how did I win $25 on that roll? Okay, let's roll. There's a 9. The point's a 9. We lose our $5 prop bet on the 11. Our lay bet did its job. We'll take it down. We will put 30 on the 6 and 8. Odds on the don't pass. The only thing I haven't covered on this video is when the point becomes a 6 or an 8. And I think the strategy is if you hit the 6 or 8, you take the 30 from that number that hit and you move it to the other number. So if the point would have been a 6, I would just put 60 on the 8 and leave the 6 alone. But anyway, let's go ahead and roll. We've got just 1 or 2 more rolls to go. And we're trying to avoid the 7. A 6, a 7, or an 8 wins. There's an 11. That was our 30th roll. That's really our exit point, but I'm going to roll a few more just to see how this last roll ends up. Here's a 4, no help. There's a 4, no help. I know we're also getting close to the 30-minute mark on this video. This is going to be a long video. 3, no help. But if this is a strategy that kind of interests you, you've got to play it about 100 times to really get the feel for it and look at all the different variations that can happen. And right now it's kind of boring because we've rolled 4 numbers with no action. There's a 3. I almost want the 7 to come out. We can get out of this roll. There you go. There's a 7. So we lose the 60 on the 6 and 8. We're going to more than make that up. We're going to pull this bet down. We ended up with 36 rolls. Starting stack of 500, we ended up with 202 for a profit. Look at the roll distribution. So over a large sample size, it will look just like this pyramid does. And sure enough, we rolled the 7. We rolled it 8 times. We only rolled the 8 2 times. But over a large sample size, it will look more and more like this pyramid looking shape. Anyway, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and leave me some comments. How did I win that $25 on that 11? I'm not sure. And anyway, if you like it, continue to play it. See how your results are. Share with me your results. Share with me what I'm missing. What are my other pain points here? But I think we met our goal. We met our exit strategy, and we ended up with a profit. What else can you ask for? Anyway, that'll do it for today's video. Hope everyone's having a good day. Thanks for watching.